Hey guys, so this video aims to answer a simple question. What are the minimum number of things I need to learn to be a somewhat competent jazz pianist? Now obviously there is no objective answer to this question, but in this video I will give my personal list of the minimum requirements you need to be a competent jazz pianist, or a kind of jazz piano starter kit or jazz piano core competencies. Now, as my example, I will be using the first 8 bars of the jazz standard All of Me. So if, say, for example, I was preparing All of Me for a performance or for a jam session, then I would learn the following. First, the left hand. I would learn a solid walking bass line. I'd learn stride. And I'd just practice the root notes of each chord by themselves, connected by a few passing notes. I'd also learn rootless chord voicings with my left hand. And a few shell voicings. As well as one-handed quartal voicings. With my right hand, I'd learn the rootless chord voicings as well. Quartal chord voicings. And the same shell voicings. I'd also learn the right hand melody. Then some kind of bass scale, maybe a pentatonic or just a diatonic scale that I can use for improvisation. And then I'd just practice a couple licks and fills that I know sound good that I can just sort of chuck in between phrases that the soloist plays. Then I'd just learn some basic spread voicings with both hands. And then some quartal voicings with both hands as well. Then when you perfect all of these things separately, practicing them individually and by themselves, you'll be well on your way to becoming a competent jazz pianist and a worthwhile contributor to a jam session. In a sense, you can think of each of these individual items as the ingredients of jazz, and now we need to combine all of them or some combination of them to create a meal or a jazz song. And so, as I just said, you need to be able to combine any two of these techniques and play them together. So for example, a walking bass line in your left plus rootless voicings in your right. bass line in your left and quartal in your right. Or stride in your left and the melody in your right. Or rootless in your left and improvisation in your right. Or solitary root notes in your left, followed by two-handed voicings. Right, so by combining all these individual ingredients, which by themselves are a little bit boring, you can start to create something a little bit more interesting and a little bit more holistic. And keep in mind, this is just the minimum requirements for jazz piano, or the starter pack for jazz piano, in my opinion. It's enough to make you appear like you're a competent jazz pianist and like you know what you're doing. And you can then start combining and switching between these techniques to create some interesting variation. So for example, you could combine stride piano with rootless chord voicings. Or intersperse stride with some walking bass lines. And then once you master this starter pack, there are countless other voicings and techniques and scales you can learn. Right, we haven't talked about upper structures or chord substitutions or passing chords or using the whole tone scale to improvise, and many other things that you can do, as well as this kind of minimum core competencies of jazz piano that I've just listed. But as I said, for each new song I learn, as a bare minimum, I learn to play it using all the techniques listed up here in the picture-in-picture. So in a sense, this is my quick to-do list for each new song that I learn. Now obviously this list is entirely subjective, so feel free to add or remove other items and customize sort of your own list. But I personally find it helpful to have a kind of short list or to-do list of the things I need to learn in order to be able to play a song half competently. Anyway, I hope that helped, and thanks for watching. See ya.